guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a tutorial and a first impression on everything that I bought from the Anastasia Beverly Hills fall launch. So that is including the Subculture palette, the Liquid Glow highlight, and I bought 3 of the lipsticks. We're only going to use one of them today, but we're just kind of trying to see what pairs well with this look and test out the new formula. I was going to do swatches of the palette when I sat down to do this, and then I just decided not to for 2 reasons. One reason being that I think that the swatches of this palette are plentiful and you guys will just have seen them everywhere anyway. And 2, I don't personally think that swatches are a great way to tell how a product performs. You really need to see how it works on the eyes with a brush, on the skin of an eye, in the shape of an eye. Like, it just, you need an eye. So in lieu of that, we're just going to apply it straight to our eyes. The look that I did today is not your typical everyday look, as you could probably tell. I don't usually do like everyday makeup on my Instagram, and that seems to be what you guys like the most. So I'm trying that out here too. I'm gonna start doing some tutorials of more of my artistic looks because, quite frankly, I'm bored of myself doing the other ones. So we're trying this, and hopefully you guys are along for the ride. I like things like this. I would wear this out. But to be honest, I don't think the point of a makeup tutorial is for you guys to necessarily create it directly anyway. A lot of times it's just to learn technique, and sometimes it's just fucking fun and soothing. So let me know what you guys think of this more creative type of a look. Would you wear it? Do you like it? Do you like seeing it? Like, what's the deal? Let me know what you think. So we've got a lot of things to test out today, which means we need to shut up and get started. So let's zoom in and get started on the eyes. I can't find my like claw grabby clip to hold my hair back, so I put it in a low ponytail that's loose so it doesn't fuck up my hair, and I look like Benjamin Franklin. What? Why can't I wear a low ponytail? Why do I look like a founding father? Here she is. She's still in the box. I haven't even opened her yet. Do you know the self-control it took for me not to open this since it came yesterday? You guys have no fucking idea. You have no idea. All right, there's what she looks like on the inside, mostly matte shades, which I like. I find that you can do a lot more with matte shades than you can with shimmers. Like, I think a lot of looks depend on a beautiful shimmer, but you can do more with more matte shades creatively and just like grab a shimmer from somewhere else. So this really excites me. I'm gonna stay completely within this palette today though, obviously. The brush that comes inside it is just the typical double-sided ABH brush that comes in all of their palettes. To be honest though, these are actually really decent brushes, so I'm happy with them sending this. Back in the day, palettes used to come with like an eyeliner sometimes, and I kind of miss that. If somebody could bring that habit back, I would really enjoy that. I'm going to start by grabbing a little bit of the color Dawn just to put it through the crease area and start getting like a transition going. And I'm just going to pop that through the crease area on my Sigma E40 blending brush. And then we're going to bring that in toward my nose line as well because I plan on doing some blending in that direction. Now right away, one thing I notice is it is very, very powdery. You get a lot of kickback in the pan. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that can actually translate to a nicer formula on the eyes, and it doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a lot of fallout. However, it does mean that your pans and your palette are going to get messy quickly, so if that's something that bothers you, keep that in mind. But so far, this is blending really, really beautifully through the crease, and I'm noticing that this is actually a perfect transition shade. I was thinking that it might be a little bit too light, but now that it's actually on my skin, I'm thinking otherwise. Okay, next I'm going to pick up a little bit of this peach shade Roxy on a flat brush. This is a BH number 6. I'm going to pick that up on one side of the brush. God damn! Just tapping the brush into the pan. That's a shitload of pigment for a color like that. Like for a matte, like mid-tone color, that's really, really pigmented. I'm going to pack that over the whole lid area and then, whoa. And then blend it into the crease. Next, I'm going to pick up the shader end of the brush that was included in the palette, and I'm going to pack that onto that small shader brush, and then I'm going to pack that into my inner corners. Packing that on in a very haphazard way because I'm kind of looking to give this like a more artsy, painterly look, and I'm going to like layer a few different shades in like different like organic patterns like that. So, just kind of tapping it wherever, and then on the other side I'm going to do it similarly but not exactly the same. So far the pigmentation on these matte shades is like, I have no words, honestly. I have not, I have never. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the color Electric, which is a shimmer. It is like a duochrome green shimmer with like a little undertone of peach in there. On a flat brush, this is a BH number 9. I'm going to try initially packing this on dry because it seems extremely creamy, but I might wet it. We will see. We will see. And with that flat brush, I'm going to try packing this color on in like kind of a random pattern around the mattes that I already put down. Holy shit. Wow, I'm so fucking impressed. I'm so glad that this palette isn't disappointing because I was a little bit afraid that it was going to be disappointing. So again, on this side we're doing a similar shape to this side, but not exactly the same. When you do like a creative painterly look, it actually makes it look better if you don't do it the same on both sides usually. Personally, at least for me, I like to make it look like accidentally on purpose. This is a Real Techniques detail brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this color Untamed, and I'm going to continue these types of like organic shapes on the outer corner though. Starting from underneath the lash line, I'm going to kind of like bring that up. Even though this look is on the creative side, I do want to keep it like a flattering shape. With this shade, I am getting a little bit of fallout, which is to be expected with a color like this, but since I am getting that, I'm going to just brush it off, and then I'm going to powder underneath my eyes pretty heavily so we can continue this look without getting any because I already put my foundation and my concealer on, and so we need to preserve that shit. Okay, that should help. And I'm just bringing that color a little bit into the crease just to kind of make the shape that we're doing flow with the rest of the shape of the eye. And then I'm going to blend a little bit of the edges in here, but not too much because I don't want to ruin the shape that I made. I'm just going to kind of tickle it in with a clean brush just to make it look like it's not too stark. Almost like watercolory is what I'm going for. So in that same area, on top of that same shape, I want to make it a little bit brighter and a little bit deeper. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of this color Axis. This is a very, very stained Sigma EO6 pencil brush, and I'm just going to pack that on top of the areas where I put that initial shape down. Not exactly 100% following the same shape, but kind of like tracing similar shapes to it to just try to like build upon it, but also create a little bit of a layer and texture with it as well. Okay, I truly in my heart of hearts need to know how the color Electric works when it's wet, because if it works like that in there when it's dry, I cannot imagine. So I'm going to use the same brush I used before, but I'm going to pack it on and then wet it with a little bit of setting spray. And I'm going to use that to kind of make like a painterly style highlight in the center of the lid over that peachy color. So far, my overall impression is that these colors work a lot like loose pigments. Like they seem somehow like they got a loose pigment to be just pressed into a pan, but not losing any qualities of a loose pigment. It's really strange and impressive. So I'm just gonna turn this brush on its side because I kind of want to make like paint strokes. I'm just gonna pop a little of that in the center of the lid in little streakies. Now that this is on my brush, I'm just going to touch a little bit of it over on the outer area, just because that's the only spot where we didn't put anything metallic. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, but I'm gonna bring it down a little further. And I'm just gonna pick up that pencil brush again and run that on the edge of where I put down that color Adorn. Is that what it's called? No, Axis. Because I lost a little bit of that in translation as we were blending. For the top lashes, I'm going to tightline them in black. For that, I'm just going to run through them with the Anastasia Dark Side Gel Liner Pencil. For the waterline, I'm going to actually use 2 pencils. I'm going to do the center like a bright yellow shade. I'm going to use this liner pencil from Colourpop in the color Punch. And then for the outer portion, I'm going to use a shade very similar to the tone of Axis and Untamed that we used out here. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 liner pencil in the color Junkie. When you use 2 colors in your waterline, if you take the lighter one after the darker one and kind of just run it over where the darker one ends, it automatically sort of makes like a little ombre effect and blends them together for you. Okay, so that's pretty much where I'm going to leave the eye look. I'm going to just pop off camera and curl my lashes, put on some mascara and some falsies, take away this under eye area, and we'll be right back. Now I also bought 3 of the lipsticks and 1 of the Liquid Glow highlights, so I'm going to use the Liquid Glow highlight next. I picked up the color Perla because it looked like it would be the most appropriate for my skin tone. Usually the lightest shade possible is the appropriate one for my skin tone. However, there were 2 very pale shades, so I got the more champagne toned one instead of the more pink toned one because I basically just have like enough cool toned highlighters and I wanted something a little bit warmer. All right, I'm gonna treat this like I do any other liquid highlighter and pop it on the back of my hand first. It's very creamy and thin. It doesn't have like that sticky, tacky texture like the Cover FX one does. I'm just gonna pop that with my finger onto my cheekbone and then blend it in with a clean finger. I think I'm actually gonna blend it with a sponge. Yeah, that's better. I like that. That's beautiful. It's got like a very wet dewiness to it, but it's not overpowering. It also blends very easily, so it's very easy to make it look nice. Because while I do love how the Cover FX one perform in the sense that when you put them on, they're on there for like pretty much until the end of time, I do think that they can be a little bit difficult to work with, so these are probably slightly more user-friendly. Put a little bit on the Cuties bow. That's lovely. I like it. It seems like it's also very buildable. So like this is pretty subtle. Let's see if we could build it up a little bit. Woo! Yes, we can. Yes, we can. These are very, very buildable. You don't get weird texture if you apply another layer over the top of it, which is very nice because then you can kind of choose the level of highlight you want. I put this a little too low on my nose. And from what's on the back of my hand, I can tell you that they do dry down, so these will probably wear for a very long time. Very much like the Cover FX ones, but it seems like they have a longer dry time, so they make them easier to work with. If this wears as well as the Cover FX ones, it could be a new favorite because it sits really pretty on the skin. It was very easy to apply and it's definitely buildable, which is really nice. For the lipsticks, I picked up 3 shades. I picked up Griffin, which is kind of a gray taupe color. I picked up Cobalt, which is a very, very bright cobalt blue, obviously. And I also picked up Brandy, which is kind of like a mid-tone, like Marsala type of a shade, it seems. I haven't actually opened any of these out of the box yet, so I don't have an idea of what they look like in person. Because we went so like painterly on the eyes, I'm going to go for Brandy today because I think it will be the one that won't take away from the eye look. What the packaging looks like, sleek, beautiful. Let's open it up, see what it looks like. Very, very nice, sleek, seems like durable, doesn't feel flimsy at all. I like the embossed logo on the outside. Everything is like really on brand for them, which I would never expect anything less because they are with their branding. So to give a fair assessment of how these lipsticks work, I'm going to start by applying it straight from the tube right to my lips. No brush, no liner, no nothing. There's no primer on my lips, and there's also no lip liner on my lips. I'm going to apply it sans liner for now. If when I apply it, I feel like I need to go with a brush because it's not neat enough, I will. I'll probably just grab their lipstick brush if that's the case because I have it, so why not just keep it on brand. Alright, I am going to grab a lip brush. This is just the Anastasia lip brush that comes with their lip palette. It is no fault of the lipsticks, I just suck at applying lipstick straight from the bullet. I always have. And here's the finished look. Okay, for an overall review on the items in this fall release from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Subculture palette, phenomenal. Phenomenal. The palette is probably one of the most pigmented palettes I've ever worked with in my entire life. It is pigmented almost to a fault, and what I mean by that is that it's so pigmented that if you're not careful, you're going to get a little bit of fallout. You also might get some chunks of shimmer coming out of the shimmer shades if you're not careful with those. However, we all know the makeup procedure, how to avoid fallout. It's really not that serious. Personally, for me, that does not take points off. I would trade fallout for performance in other areas any day of the week, as long as I get like a punch of color that I can blend out easily when I'm working with a shadow. That's what I look for personally. So for me, still a huge thumbs up on those. The formula is definitely interesting and a little bit different than other things that are on the market. I would say that they behave more like a loose pigment than they do an eyeshadow almost, which is weird and bizarre, and you would never expect that from a pressed shadow. However, they're all pressed, but they all kind of perform like a loose pigment. I don't know how to explain unless you use it, but it just has that sort of effect. For me personally, I love that because the majority of what I do is like artsy, kind of painterly, or like messy or grungy, or just different type of looks most of the time. So for me, that gives me range. Like I can do a lot with that I couldn't do with a pressed shadow that just kind of gives me a little bit of color payoff, if that makes sense. The liquid highlight is very, very pretty. It does rival the Cover FX drops in my opinion. Not quite as shiny upon first application as the Cover FX drops are. However, it is buildable. So you might not get the biggest punch like you do with the Cover FX drops immediately. Cover FX drops have a huge learning curve. So if you tried those and you wanted to like them because you like the effect they give to the skin, but you couldn't get past that learning curve of this leaves splotches because I can't blend it fast enough, then check out the Anastasia one because I think that might be like the perfect alternative for you. Lipstick is extremely reminiscent of the lipsticks in the lip palette that they released a few months ago. It's like kind of on the drier side, but it is a matte, so you expect that. It feels dry going onto the lips, but now that it's on, I can feel nothing. It was a little bit on the difficult side to apply because of that, but if you just use a brush and just take your time, it's not difficult, it's just slower than it would be if you were to use like a liquid lipstick per se. Obviously, I haven't tested the wear time because this is first impressions, but I wouldn't expect like an extraordinary wear time out of a regular bullet lipstick that doesn't dry down. So most likely, I would say like tops like 3-4 hours you probably get out of this, but if it's something crazy and longer, I will let you guys know. I'll make a note in the description below if it lasts a really long time or something. Honestly, at this point, I would be really shocked if we got like a huge flop from Claudia and Anastasia. Like they just know what they're doing over there. They take their time, they put their passion into it. They're two women after my own heart, I'll tell you what. Out of this launch, if I had to pick one item that you cannot miss, definitely the Subculture palette. I think that the colors are way more interesting than anything else that's on the market at the moment, and the formulation is... So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and little first impressions type of thing. I guess it's not really a review if I haven't worn it yet, but we could do that later too if you guys want. Let me know if you want to know what I think about like the wear time and stuff, and I could update you guys on that later. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because that really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because that's the best way to stick around, see more tutorials, hang out with me, have a good time, and quite frankly, it'll just make my day. Don't forget to also follow me on social media. I'm at Miss QUINNFACE on every platform, specifically Instagram, Twitter, here, sometimes Snapchat. I'll list it all on the screen. I'll also list it in the description below. My name's always the same everywhere though, so real easy to find me. I post a new makeup look pretty much every single day on Instagram, so if you would like to see more looks like this on a daily, go ahead over there and give me a follow. Say hello, you know, don't be shy. Don't be shy. That's all for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.